Hey, welcome to Soretvgamer podcast for June 10th, 2022. How's it going? Hello, hi. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day, good day, yeah. Um, God, man, it's been a long time. It's been a long time since I talked to you guys. A lot has been going on. It's been one hell of a ride, honestly. I've been through a lot, and I got through the other side. I went through all kinds of stuff, and I finally um want to do a podcast and basically catch up with everybody. So let me know how you're doing and stuff. I'm doing fine. Um, Finished Elden Ring. Beat the game, got all the trophies and stuff like that. Um, did Journey 1, 2, and 3. So it got harder each time. Boy, oh boy, that was hard. That was one of the hardest things I've done. The game is unrelentless, relentless, relentless. It was a game. Um, 10 out of 10 for sure. There are some things about it, where like I think the invaders should have like a time limit, like 20 minutes. Nothing short, just like 20, maybe 30 minutes. And at that point, if they're still invading you, uh, you know, they get kicked because a lot of people like to hang out near the enemies and make the fights draw on. And as soon as you get all the enemies out of the way by the skin of your teeth, they just go to the next area with enemies, and it prevents you from getting to the resting point. It prevents you from getting to the boss unless you can get past the boss and just go straight into the fog. But boy, it's hell. It's hard. It's a hard game. I did it with zero, and we faced every invader we could, head on. Um, there were only maybe a handful of times where it was just convenient to get to the boss because we've already done an invader literally 10 minutes before. We're like, okay, like we get it. We're probably gonna win. Might as well just go to the fog and have all our potions ready at the start of the fight. So that there are two things that like I wish there was a time limit to the invasion that I want to complain about, and then the next thing is the performance end of the game. I love the game, and the performance was well. I played it on the PS4 backwards compatible. No, I played it on the PS5 backwards compatible with the PS4 version. So you get the 1080p resolution, but you still have frame issues and stuff like that throughout the game. It wasn't often, but there was a very lushful forest area that stuttered, and then there was a snow area as well that the frame rate just hit. I have great connection and all that. It wasn't that. It was just for some reason the game was just chugging on the PS5. So I do recommend playing it on the backwards compatible mode on the PS5 with the PS4 version, just because literally 90% of the game was buttery smooth. It was just so nice. Sure, it's not 4K, but who cares? I play those games for the combat, and so performance is a huge thing. If they could fix the PS5 version and have it smooth, dude, I would love them so much. I don't know if it's possible because it's the Dark Souls 3 engine, and you have this vast open world, and I'm not really sure if that's even possible with the given tools that they have, but they did everything they could to make it enjoyable, and boy oh boy, they did. They did a great job with this game. My only two complaints were that it's still a 10 out of 10. Um, so, a lot of people would say, you didn't really play the game fully to its full potential, because you use summonings. I did. I used summonings. I summoned my friend, but I will say this with full confidence that I bonded with my friend Zero more than I have in a long time playing this game. We spent a lot of hours just like chilling and doing the routine, fight invader and then fight enemies and get to the boss and do it again and finding items and leveling up our characters and making our weapons better and stuff like that. We had a great time. So don't kick and dismiss the cooperative mode because seriously, you have an entirely different game. Um, you literally can co-op this game throughout the entire point of the game, as long as you don't finish the where you burn the tree. As long as you don't burn the tree and you both haven't done that yet, you can do everything. And then once you burn the tree, both of you do it at the same time, and then you can still play with each other. There was maybe one or two times where I couldn't get help, and it had to do with the environment changing because of the tree being burnt. But it was still an endurable time. I literally had so much fun playing with him. So don't take the cooperative mode. Um, so I started with the cooperative mode where I played with Zero the entire time. He was like my strategy guide. So I 100% all the trophies by my third journey in the game. I finished the third journey and I was done. Um, but it took about 180 something hours to do that. It would have taken me so much longer if I didn't have his help. It easily 400 hours in, if I didn't have his help. So what I'm gonna do now that I got, you know, through the game and got all the trophies, I'm gonna go back to the game myself when I have downtime and I feel like it, and just face everything on my own. No summonings, no nothing, just getting it down. I'm probably gonna have to get a faster weapon because I mained a giant crusher. I love that weapon. I love how big it is, um, and how destructive it is. And it just, I found it so funny that you're wielding it that I wanted to keep it. I also focused on using the pumpkin helmet, and the um, I don't know what they're called, but it's like the big burly guys with the red suit, the red armor. They're really fat looking. I use that as my chest plate. And then I use the veteran gauntlets and the veteran boots or greaves, or whatever you want to call them. And that was my playthrough. I just focused all on my potions. I didn't use magic at all. Um, and I focused a lot on endurance. I ended up leveling my health all the way up to 99, my strength to like 66, my endurance to 80 or something like that, or 70. I forget. Um, and yeah, it pretty much said uh, goodbye to everything else. I just focus on that. I never respected. I used my character with what I had and what I committed to. And though it would have been nice to focus on a katana, maybe, for sure. Actually, um, I already committed to strength build, so things were hard because you're slower and stuff like that with your attacks. I kept my roll at a medium to low, which helped me roll out of attacks and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed the game, for the RPG element. It's kind of funny though because like a lot of times like I'll be playing the game and thinking about that TikTok video where the guy is like, "This is supposed to be an RPG. What am I role playing as, a fucking victim? Jesus Christ!" Like it's really funny because like I kept thinking about that video when I'm getting annihilated with these bosses. Like Melina was one of them where I'm just like, good God, like give me a break. I'm dying over here, like over and over again. We ended up getting one guy on our first journey to help us with the boss, and he did it himself. His name was Let Me Solo Her question mark. So there's a player out there that is replicating the original Let Me Solo Her. So we did run into Let Me Solo Her, the original, the OG, on our journey 3. But our first journey, we ended up getting lucky with this guy that was like really, really good at finding Merlina. It took a couple tries and a few messages to ask for help, but he got right into the party and helped us. and it was wonderful to watch that. It was like, wow, like you can really do anything in this game if you put your heart to it. So it was really really fun. The enemies and stuff were just by far so creative. I mean, the enemies are as detailed as the environment, and the environment is extraordinary detailed. Every second you're walking, you see beauty. I mean, it's like walking into a painting. I swear, this is the best looking game I've played in my whole life. I really felt like I was in a fantasy novel. I love the way the dialogue is in the game too, where it's just like really creative and really detailed and artistically written. I really enjoyed it. But don't go into this game thinking you're just gonna explore the world, because you can, but there's gonna be obstacles on the way. A lot of enemies on the way. You will have to face them eventually. Now you can do it right away, or you can level up and then go back at them again. But it really, the creator himself, the director, said that he's not very good at games. So he makes a lot of mistakes, and he wanted the game to represent that, to where like we make mistakes, but we learn from them and we get better, and that's the whole point of the game, is to overcome what is hard. You don't just fail and feel like, man, this game is just impossible. You may have that thought, but once you realize, hey, like, what if I like go at this enemy this way? What if I rolled at this time? What if I use this summoning? What if I get a friend to help me and he can distract the enemy while I hit him in the back, and stuff like that. There's many ways to overcome your struggles, and each boss feels like final boss. It really does. The very first enemy, I believe, is Margaret, the first main boss, and he feels like a final boss. And imagine that throughout the entire game. Each time you fight a boss, it feels like the final one. And once you get to the final boss, um, the actual final boss, it feels like just another boss. Just another thing in your way that you're gonna kill. And a lot of people mistake that as like a thing, like a bad thing, but it's not. You have just ascended so much that now you're like creation of a god. One of the enemies says a man cannot kill a god, and here you are killing one. I mean, you really get it done. And so it's kind of peculiar how that ends up being the case at the final boss. Sure, it's a struggle all the way up, but each time you get a little farther, you're just like, what's next? What do I want to do now? You know, and I did have to take a few breaks, but most of the time I played the game 10 hours a day, like a career choice. It does ask a lot of you in that aspect. Don't kick the cooperative mode because it's a lot of fun, and you really can get through the game with a good friend that you're close to, and you can really bond with each other. Like I said, I'm gonna solo the game myself when I feel up to it. I did that with Demon's Souls remake um, a couple months ago, and I'm doing it again in the future with Elden Ring, where I don't get any help. I just do it myself, and that would be an achievement in itself. Probably gonna focus on just a strength build and just focus on you know basically rolling and doing all that stuff. I'll probably get it. I maybe not a strength build, maybe a dex build, but I'm not sure. I feel like I would have an easier time with a dex build just because I'm faster and I can move way quicker. But yeah, I really enjoyed the bosses and the enemies in general. The regular enemies were, like I said, as detailed and creative as the environment itself, as the story itself. There is no like this is better than that. Everything is 10 out of 10, besides the performance, and that's the only issue I have with it. Performance, and the invaders taking literally at times 45 minutes to an hour just for them to fail too. It wasn't like they would win. Um, so, that's my only two complaints, honestly. Um, when it came to like the items and the crafting. I am not a crafting guy. I do not like that in my game. And when I heard about it, I'll be honest, I was like, fuck that. Like, that's stupid. But it's really bare bones. It's really simple. And it's only there for you to encourage you to explore. And for that, I actually think I'm a crafting person now. Like, I actually enjoy the crafting. You have to find cookbooks, and once you get the cookbooks, you can see what ingredients you need to create this and that. And you'll go start to learn the environment even more. You'll start noticing things even more. Oh, I can grab that, and then I can have this many of that. And it was really intuitive and fun. The music in the game is by far the best music I've heard in any game. I mean, even just fighting PvP, like you got violin in the background while drums are hitting and stuff like that, and it's just like orchestral music, and it was just so beautiful. It was so just fleshed out. I mean, every freaking aspect of this game is just at its full potential of gaming in history. The only downside is that once it's over and you've done everything, it's like you can only look back with nostalgic vibes and be like, man, I want a second one. I want another one. I mean, it was that good. I really enjoyed it. It made me emotional playing that game. I mean, I joke around with my friend Zero, and I was like, which by the way, he's the reason why I was able to get all those trophies and stuff and get through the game as quick as I did, 180 hours or so, just because he was literally my strategy guide, and there's nothing wrong with that. Do I feel like like I said, do I feel like I experienced the game at its full potential and really pushed myself? No, not really. I don't think I did. I think there's a time and place to do that, but I was really looking forward to just the commentary and stuff and making videos with my friend and just having a bonding experience because we got really close because of this game. Recommend it for sure. Don't kick it unless you try it. It's really fun. Um, but definitely I have to get good. um, but yeah, back to what I was saying though. Like I really, I really got through. I don't know what I was saying. I totally forgot. But long story short, if there's anything I want to mention, it's some of the bosses. Like Radon was like mind blowing. I mean, it was the coolest freaking thing I've ever felt. Um, Zero got me through it, and we did our first try. I just kept summoning all the characters to help while he whacked at them, and they patched him to be a little easier to hit. Like his hit boxes were a little bigger, so we got it done pretty quick. But he was one of the hardest things I've ever seen people fight. Like ridiculous. Um, and it was so detailed and it was so epic. And I don't just mean like bro like epic. Like I mean like literally Lord of the Rings style epicness. I mean, it was literally like the best thing I've ever experienced in the game. Was just these drawn out battles with these bosses and PvP. It was just epic. I mean, even the normal enemies too. When they all gain up on you and you succeed and you get extra Chrisman tiers and you get like your Estus flags to upgrade and stuff like it felt so good. It felt so extraordinary. You feel like you are literally amazing in every sense of the word, amazing. You know, like you really do. And the game doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. Rundown or whatever his name is, he's difficult. He's difficult, but that's the point in the game where you start to realize, wow, like everything I've faced up until this point led me here, and this is like one hell of a fight, and it does feel like a final boss. And the same thing with Melina. Melina is probably, in my opinion, the hardest boss in the game. And let me solo her question mark guide us through it. He was awesome. He did it all himself after a few tries, and by the second journey, we were like, okay, time for us to do that. And so we got like three people to help us, or we got another person to help us. So three people, and we faced her. She was even harder than before, and we got it done. And that's a sense of achievement that you don't get these days in video games. Um, Beautiful, just beautiful. Well done, well done. Hard and difficult. Took many, 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 many tries. I mean, seriously, to the point where, like, your mind starts to think this is not achievable. Like, you cannot do this, but you can. That's just part of the game messing with you, telling you you can't do this. You can. You can. Yes, you can. And another enemy, I forget his name, but he stomps on the ground. Halfway through, he turns into Zangief from Street Fighter 4, and he just goes ham, suplexes you up in the air, and throws you back down on your neck. And it's intense, and he's dashing and stomping and dashing and stomping, and you have to jump over those stomping attacks where he's bringing up the ground, and you have to time it, and you have to hit him. And it felt like by Journey 2 and 3, I felt like I could only hit him one time, and then I have to go back to dodging and basically being a ninja. Um, the what I used was a giant crusher. I don't know if I said this before because I've done this recording before, but I had the pumpkin head, the fireman fat suit that you can get in the snowfield if the enemy drops it, and the veteran greaves and the veteran gauntlets. And I used the giant crusher plus 25. By Journey 3, it was plus 25, and that's what I used. I looked ridiculous, but I also felt like that's my identity. Like, I felt like that character. I earned that armor, and I'm wearing it with pride. As ridiculous as it looked, it was cool. It was like I felt like my own character in the game. Because not a lot of people use that armor, but I did. I liked it a lot. Um, and I just got through it. I just got through it with the grace of my friend Zero. I mean, he's by far way better than me at the game, but I learned a lot from him, and it's not a competition. You know, he could kill me in a PvP fight for sure. But it's so rewarding. There were some PvP fights, like I said, that lasted 40 to an hour, 40 minutes to an hour, and it really was drawn out and exhausting. But at the same time, it was like, you know, what I looked forward to. And I would hate it. Every time I got invaded, it was like, great. Of course. Right now. Of course they would right now. Sometimes they would invade at the moment I summoned my friend. And I was like, oh my God. I mean, those are the moments where it was intense because I have to get to the next checkpoint. I have to get to the next boss. I don't want them to take my runes. I don't want them to win. And you have that incentive, like, I have to finish this fight. I have to win. There were some times where I don't know if it was because of Zero's connection or what, but the PvP invader, which, by the way, if you don't know what that is, that's an actual player invading you in the game. An actual person is trying to kill you. And he would just disappear on Zero's, and he doesn't see him. He can only see me trying to fight him. And he's swinging his weapon, trying to hit him, and when he does hit him, nothing happens. Maybe some blood splurs, but there's no damage done there. Um, and that was frustrating. That happened about 5 or 6 times. Um, there was this one PvP fight where, for some reason, something happened, and Zero went down, and I summoned him again in mid fight of the PvP, and I was like the biggest like f you, like I'm gonna win, and the favors are on my side, and I knocked him out, dude. And at the end of the game, by Journey 3, I got invaded a few times where Zero died or it glitched out on his end, and I won anyway. That was not something I expected myself to do, but I did, you know, and it was really rewarding. It was like, man, I'm better than people at the game. And I don't feel that way about myself in many games, but I really do feel like I'm better at PvP than a lot of people that invaded me, at least them. Uh, there were only a few times near the end where I died at a PvP fight because I wasn't paying attention to where I was going and I fell because I was locked on them. But besides all that, like I really had a good time with the PvP, and at first I hated it. I was like, guy, I want to turn it off. I don't want to deal with this. But then it was like it started becoming like a drug. It started becoming like a feeling of like dopamine every time I won, and I would look forward to it. And I would joke around and be like, "Oh, here we go, invaded. This would be the perfect time to be invaded. Oh, we got invaded." Of course, you speak of the devil, and we laugh about it, but it was actually both of us looking forward to it. Um, so and the engine itself, with its faults, it definitely does keep up mostly on the PS4, on the PS5, PS5 backwards compatible on the PS4 version. So I really recommend that way, to play the game if you can, unless you're not, you don't care or you don't mind. I It's not so much like I don't I it does affect my gameplay, but it's more, it just takes me out of it if I do notice these drops in frames. So I just try to avoid that in every single game. It's not just from software, it's every game. I hate that. I don't like it. That's why I have a hard time playing certain games, because some, especially on the Switch, some games really do have frame pacing issues and frame rate drops and stuff, and I'm really picky about that. But yeah, it's one of the best games I've ever played. Did I scream and freak out? Of course. Dude, there were times where I'm screaming on top of my lungs like "F you." Oh, this sucks. Bullshit, blah blah blah. Here we go again. And there are other times where the fights were so obnoxious that I was just laughing hysterically, like just so, like, in my gut I'm laughing and my friends laughing with me. We're fighting that boss that does the dash stomp, and I'm like, oh, here we go again. Dash, stomp, dash, stomp. He's cracking up. I'm laughing like a maniac. I'm all manic and I'm freaking out. And, it was a good time. Like, we had a lot of laughing in that game. For such a serious and dark place in a game, we had the most funny experiences ever. When it first came out, it was a little glitchy too. And you would have to watch the videos that I've uploaded. I have them all on my YouTube. I'm going to finish the last few episodes when it comes to editing them, but we got all the way up to Melina on my channel as of now. It's June 10th, 2022. Um, and you can watch my experiences and my struggles and my achievements if you so desire. So, Elden Ring is one of the best games ever made. 10 out of 10 for sure. I loved every second of it. I can't believe it actually exists. The last thing I want to say before I wrap this up and say good night or good afternoon or good morning is, don't sleep on this game. Don't listen to the criticism people say about this game, because if they say it's shit, they don't understand. They just don't. Um, this game is a full game, full complete game, and you're paying the original amount of a video game. 60. I think it's $70 on PS5, but you get the PS4 version. I'm not entirely sure there. Might just be 60. And if you get the PS5 version, you do get the PS4 version. But it is such a wonderful game. And I don't want you to sleep on it. If you're even remotely into fantasy and stuff like that, give it a shot. I really, really, really mean that. Um, it is one of the best experiences I've had in a long time. And hell, I didn't even play it to its full potential, man. And I still had a great time. I mean, every second was rewarding and fun and challenging and entertaining and interesting. I mean, I don't feel that way about games. I really don't. Lately, I've been feeling dead when it comes to like video games these days. I feel so like meh, like it's cool. I appreciate what it does, but I don't want to finish it. This one I did, and it turned out to be one of the hardest things to do, and I did it. So it's not always about, you know, how good a game appears to be. It's about how well it is, how well thought, how intricate every single aspect of it really is. And with that, I'd say go get yourself a coffee or a Monster Energy drink or something and just caffeinate and play this game. Get a friend, just go explore this game, and really embrace the Elden Lord inside of you. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for listening. I'm Soretvgamer, and that's my review.